This is one of the most requested topics that I get, and that's, oh my gosh, I'm in back pain, Will, please help. So luckily, this has been something that I've been wildly successful at over the years, and that is fixing people's back pain. And that can be minor aches and pains that come from too much sitting. It can be sports-related challenges, or it can be more extreme stuff like people that have pins and rods in their body, and so they can't use certain joints the way that they would like to be able to, okay? So we're gonna jump into how to fix back pain, but I also wanna take a minute and talk about the cause that likely got you into back pain, because so often in our culture, we're really quick to ask for the solution to a problem instead of stopping and looking at actually why we're in that problem. And that's really how you get the upgrade here. I always say never waste an injury, because there's probably no greater learning experience for your physical body than an injury. And if you lean into that learning process, you'll get a massive upgrade and be better on the other side. So let's jump in here. Okay, before I give you my favorite ways to fix back pain, let's take a step back and look at why you are likely having that discomfort in the first place. So, one of the things I do with all my athletes is we have them learn to stand properly, okay? So we put our feet 6 to 8 inches apart, toes pointed forward, so right under the hip joints as opposed to the outsides of the hips. And then we have them stand up as tall as they can, and this is where it gets relevant for us today. We're gonna have them squeeze the glutes forward, suck your belly button in, and chest up, or we could say elevate the sternum, or I like to say separating through the pectorals, okay? This activates everything in our core, which core is often oversimplified. People talk about just strengthening their abs or their lower back as their core. That's certainly part of it, but really your core is everything from your hips to your neck, okay? So when we're standing, we want to stand up tall, squeeze the glutes, belly in, chest up, arms and shoulders relaxed, head on top of your shoulders, and looking mostly forward. Now, this is super important because you're going to practice this habit all day long. If I stand improperly and I do it all day long, 8, 16 hours, however long I'm on my feet throughout the day, we can create some really bad habits. And this is where it gets really specific for the lower back, okay? If I don't use my glutes, if I stand the wrong way, my butt sticks out like this, my glutes are jiggly, so they're deactivated, and now my lower back has to overcompensate for my glutes not working. So you can see there, my back is arched in the lower back, my belly kind of hangs out. So I really have to arch and overuse my lower back to stand up. Because if I don't, I'm going to be leaning forward because my butt's sticking out. And I'm going to be looking at the ground all day. So to stand up, you start to arch your back so you can look forward. And then this tenses up. These don't work. This hangs out. We've got all these weird habits going on here, okay? So the first thing you want to do is squeeze your glutes forward. All right, I should feel my glutes turn on, become solid. My belly will naturally come back in, right? And you can see that my lower back is mostly straight now, so that big arch normalized or went away, okay? So squeeze the glutes, belly in, and chest up. We want to stand like that all day long, so we create those good habits all day long. Now, when we're talking about training, so let's apply this to training. This is why people get back pain when they train. Let's use an RDL as an example. So let's say I stand wrong all day long, my glutes are deactivated, my back is arched, my belly hangs out, and now I go to the gym because I mean well and I want to get stronger, and I go to do an RDL, a Romanian deadlift, which is a deadlift variation with the knees mostly straight. Ideally, it's a glute and a hamstring exercise. A lot of people think it's a lower back exercise, but that is usually not the best way to look at it, okay? So I'm going to grab my bar, I'm going to stand up tall, and I'm going to bend at the hip, and I'm reaching the weight right down the front of my shin, till my back's about parallel to the ground, till I feel a good stretch in my hamstrings. And then I'm going to use my glutes and hamstrings to stand back up. If I've been standing improperly all day long, I'm going to naturally have this big arch in my back, and I'm going to feel my lower back doing tons of work, and then I'm going to have to use my lower back to stand back up. And that's why people get really achy lower backs often when they do RDLs and different variations of deadlifts, okay? We don't really want the lower back to get sore when we deadlift. I usually say it should do like less than 20% of the work, and your glutes and hamstrings should be doing almost all the work, but let's say about 80% of the work to bend to the hip and then stand back up, okay? So that's how this applies to your training, all right? That's why it's so important to stand properly throughout the day, to build those habits, and then apply that to your training, Okay, so now let's jump into my 2 favorite exercises for actually fixing lower back pain. Generally speaking, there's 2 main causes of back pain, and I started to allude to this before, but those causes are deactivated or just malfunctioning glutes, all right? Because we know when the glutes don't work properly, we get this arch in the back like we talked about that makes the lower back overwork, and then you get pain or you get an actual injury in your lower back, okay? The other cause is a tight backside of your body, okay? So we need to turn the glutes on more. We need to make them work more properly, more powerfully, and then we need to lengthen everything on the backside of your body, specifically your hamstrings, your glutes, and your lower back. The reason that is, long muscles absorb force very well. Meaning, when I step off a curb and I land, if my muscles are lengthened eccentrically, they're going to absorb the force of everything that I'm doing. If my muscles are chronically tight, short muscles don't absorb force very well. So if I step off that same curb and my muscles are really tight, and now, and I get pain in my knee or my lower back or whatever it is, okay? That's why we want the muscles to be eccentrically elongated. We want to be very strong in that lengthened position. So here are my 2 methods for doing that. Number 1, we want to turn the glutes on, make them very, very strong, right? So we use an iso extreme lunge among other exercises, but this is the primary one to turn the glutes back on and lengthen the glutes, okay? So we want the glutes to be very powerful, to be strong in that eccentrically elongated position. So for an iso extreme lunge, I'm going to take a nice big step here. Front shin should be straight up and down, torso erect, squeezing this glute hard. I'm going to be pulling down through this front hamstring, feeling this back hip flexor lengthen and relax as I go. Arms and shoulders relax, head on top of the shoulders, looking straight ahead. Much like when I'm standing up properly, only now I'm in a nice lunge position, okay? So I'm going to start here at the top. I'm going to take a big breath. When I exhale, I'm going to pull down fast to a stop in the deepest position that I can go to, free of pain and discomfort, okay? Ideally, it would be a touch below parallel, front shin still straight up and down, torso erect, pressing my legs down into the ground hard, and again, squeezing this glute, feeling this hip flexor lengthen and relax. We're going to stay in that deep position, and we're going to build up to 3 to 5 minutes at the bottom. I'll be honest, it's tough, but the results here, the rewards for going through this are just incredible. I've never seen anything that builds up strength and flexibility and athleticism, makes you durable, all rolled into one package, and does it as efficiently as this, okay? So iso extreme lunge, make sure you do both sides. Build that up to 3 to 5 minutes in that deep position. You can train this every single day. You're not going to overtrain because technically we're recovering as we train. That's part of the brilliance of it, all right? And you'll just keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger, okay? That's number 1. We turn the glutes back on. We use an iso extreme lunge for that. Number 2, we want to lengthen the backside of the body. Hamstrings, glutes, lower back to be specific, but really everything on the backside of the body. For that, we're going to use standing extreme hamstring. I'm going to bring my feet a little bit closer together than normal. Toes angled very slightly out like a little bit of a V. This will be one of the only times I tell you to do that. Knees completely straight. I'm going to cross my arms. I'm going to take a big breath through my nose. Exhale, and I'm going to force my hips to the rear and bring my upper body all the way over to the front with my knees completely straight, like I'm trying to get my chest down to my shins. Now, for this, we want to make sure that we're not just passively hanging out, but we're actively engaged. That's really what sets us apart from just like stretching, which tends to be not very effective for people, okay? My first priority here is straightening my knees. My second priority is pulling my upper body downward, okay? I'm going to breathe deeply through my nose as I go. Every time I exhale, I'm just going to relax a little bit more. I'm going to pull myself down, 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 and then I'm going to stand back up from there. Bend your knees as you stand back up to make it nice and easy, okay? We're going to build up to 3 to 5 minutes in that deep position. Again, you can train this every single day, and I believe that you should. The best results here happen with a lot of repetition. But that is the base of what I use for fixing back pain. There's other things that go into it, but this will get most people going in the right direction in a huge way, okay? So first of all, we want to stand properly with the feet right under the hips, toes pointed forward, squeeze the glutes, belly in, chest up, arms and shoulders relaxed, looking straight ahead. We want to carry that habit into all of our training. This is where you have to really be intellectually involved. You want to pay attention to what you're doing in your training, not just going through the motions. But if I'm doing an RDL, I'm going to squeeze my glutes hard. I'm going to keep my glutes engaged, keep my back flat through that whole range of motion, and use my biggest, most powerful muscles to stand back up, as opposed to arching my back as I go. Then we'll go iso extreme lunge, building up to 3 to 5 minutes in that deep position. Train it every single day. Standing extreme hamstring to lengthen the backside of the body, 3 to 5 minutes, building up to that 5-minute mark. Train it every single day. If a person does this for like 30 straight days, usually it'll fix what ails you. Not just your lower back, but hips, knees, ankles. It's amazing. All right, my friends, give this a shot. Let me know how it goes. Shoot me your feedback in the comment section. Maybe let me know what you've tried in the past that hasn't worked well. I am stoked for you, and I'll see you on the next one.